Hey everybody, how's it going? I am Marcel Jackson, founder of Professionally Developed. I am your favorite career coach. So I just got finished delivering a speech to a group of young professionals on the best practices when it comes to job interviewing. So I thought I would go over some of those tips, share them with you. So a little bit about me. So I've been recruiting for the past 5 years for a Fortune 100 company. As far as professionally developed, served over 100 clients, and 68% of those clients receive a job interview in 30 days or less. Yes, that is possible. Also, the average salary of the individuals who did get another job offer is 13.3K. So the salary they were making when they first contacted me versus when they actually got a new job offer, they increased their salary on average $13,000. So I would love to show you how. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and check out my website and a little bit more about my services at www.professionallydeveloped.com. So let's jump into interviewing. So what's the purpose of an interview? An interview is a two-way discussion. It should be conversational between you and the recruiter. Your goal, is to present yourself as the best candidate, the most qualified candidate for this position. Another thing that you're doing is determine is it a good fit, right? So as much as you are being interviewed, you're also interviewing the company. Sometimes there's a mix match when it comes to the role, the job description, the company. So be sure that you are actually showing up and interviewing them as well, because we spend a lot of time at work, so make sure it's a good fit. So before the interview, right, you can research the company, and you should research the job description. So they created this position, they let you know what are the requirements, they also let you know the desired characteristics. So be very familiar with the job description because they're outlining all the things that they need. Also research the trends. Even now, how is COVID impacting the job industry that you're in? Develop or create 3 to 5 questions at the end of the interview to ask the interviewer. Determine what you'll wear before, lay everything out, make sure you're dressed to impress in professional attire. Also get a good night rest before the interview. And another thing you could do before the interview is practice, practice, practice. No one can control how much you're able to practice. So speak out loud. Find interview questions online and answer them. Practice them. Get in front of the mirror. Get in front of your phone. Set up time with a coworker, a peer, someone you trust. Ask for feedback. Practice. 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 Also, don't memorize your responses. You don't want to sound like you're reading off a script every time you're answering a question. What you want to do is focus on those key points. So as you're practicing, as you're thinking about different interview questions, a lot of these key points, tell me a time when, tell me your greatest strength, your weakness, focus on those key responses as opposed to memorizing the script. Also think about your nonverbal communication. If you're in a chair, maybe you swivel a lot, maybe you tap, maybe you talk with your fist, maybe you are super animated. So think about your nonverbal communication skills as well. Okay, so we practice, we practice, we practice. Now we get up to the interview. So be early, not just on time. As a hiring manager, as a company, as a recruiter, I'm thinking about if you're the best candidate for this role and you showing up early conveys to me that you're eager, you're ready, and if you're showing up early for your interview, more than likely you'll show up early for work. So you're communicating a lot of stuff just by showing up early. Dress in professional attire. If you and another candidate are interviewing similar skill sets and both knock the interview out of the park, you don't want the only reason that this other person lands the job is because they were dressed more professionally than you were. So make sure that you're dressed in professional attire for the interview. Even, even, especially in virtual interviews as well. It's still an interview, it's still formal. Show your enthusiasm. If you're funny, bring a little bit of humor. What you want to do is make sure that you're bringing your authentic self to this interview. Bring extra copies of your resume. Sometimes there are group interviews. Sometimes it got lost or it's digital. Sometimes the recruiter likes pen and paper to write things down. So just be prepared. Avoid your filler words. Understand you practice, you look, you watched yourself and everything else because you did everything before. So understand your filler words. Mine is so, I say it a lot. Focus on your contributions during the interview. We're not interviewing the team. We're not interviewing the squad. We're interviewing you. So how did you contribute? What actions did you take? What results were you able to obtain? So think about that. Always have questions at the end for the interviewer. This shows that you are eager. It shows that you were paying attention. Maybe one of those questions are pre-written down, but one of the questions maybe come to mind based on your conversation. So make sure that you have those, and also ask for the best way to follow up. If we're thinking about virtual interviewing tips, a couple things that you can do is, one, use a high quality camera. You want to make sure that you're shown and you're coming off as clear and as crisp as possible. So even if you don't have it, reach out to someone, ask if you can borrow one. Also, use a mic, use a headset whenever possible. You don't want to necessarily rely on the camera or the computer to try to pick up your voice. If you have a mic, it's right there and it should be super clear. Test the platform before you use it, whether it's Zoom, Microsoft Teams, GoToMeetings, Spark Hire, Skype. Test it. Now, when you're testing the technology, one, you're familiar with it. Two, you understand where's the video button, where's the audio button, where's this. So now it takes a load off, a stress off, if you're able to know a little bit more about the platform before you actually log on for your interview. Use a quiet room, quiet space, and limit your distractions, especially in virtual interviews. Make sure that your phone is on silent. If you have to rent out a space or visit a library, someplace, just make sure it's as quiet as possible. So make sure that you're doing that prep work ahead of time, that you have a space. Also, look into the camera. Eye contact is super huge in interviews, and sometimes we're so consumed with how we look on that tiny screen that we forget to look up at the person interviewing us. So make sure that you're making eye contact with the interviewer. Excuse me. Use a laptop or computer over a phone just because it captures more. It's usually a lot crisper, and you already tested out the functionality and the platform, so it might be more features that you're able to access on a desktop or a laptop that you might not be able to access on your phone. And again, even in virtual interviews, dress in professional attire. Alrighty, so you prepared, you got the interview, you rocked it out, whether it was virtual or in person. So we're after the interview. So take the time to stop and think about how do you think you did? Maybe this was the best interview ever. Maybe you choked up a little bit, but just take that time to really reflect on how you think you did. Also, what I don't think a lot of us do, or enough of us do, is analyze how do you feel about the company. So you just heard a little bit more about the position. You just talked to them. You asked some phenomenal questions at the end. This person who interviewed you is a representative of the company. Maybe one of the questions you asked at the end was, describe the work culture. Is there any advancement in this position? Where do you see the company going? So think about how you really feel. Again, I talked earlier, it might be a mixed match. As much as you're being interviewed, you're also interviewing the company to see if you're a good fit. Send a thank you email within 48 hours. That's why asking what's the best way to communicate is super important. Be patient. It's a waiting game. Sometimes it takes anywhere from 30 to 60 days. It's like the warming period, which means, hey, you've had your interviews, and before it's an offer or decline, whatever that verdict is, it might be, the average is 45 days. So be patient. Feel free to follow up in 2 to 3 weeks if you haven't heard anything. That's about the halfway point of that typical warming period. Again, some companies might hit you up a lot sooner than that. Some might take a little bit longer. So be patient, but do not harass the interviewer. Send that thank you email, follow up if you haven't heard, and yeah, but what you don't want to do is become a nuisance. That's a sure way to not get the job. Then also stay in the know. That's something else that you can do at the end of after the interview. So follow the company, do some research on the company, follow their social media accounts, set up a Google alert. So whether, say you do get the job offer, so you want to make sure that during this time while you're waiting, that you're actually learning, increasing your knowledge about this company. Alrighty, so thank you. That's what I had for interview tips. Again, Marcel Jackson, your favorite career coach. I specialize in creating digital products that help people present the best version of themselves to the world. That's through website design, business media kits, resume upgrades, LinkedIn updates, cover letters. So feel free to reach out to me, subscribe, follow me, and thanks for listening. Peace.